Adam. Adam, I didn't even give you any heads up. We are live.
Hey,
Caught you off
what's going
guard.
on, Paul? Good morning to you. Thanks for having me on, Paul. I appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you carving out some serious time for a serious
You
learn
bet.
a
I got
little.
my purple coach's shirt on here.
That guy is gonna
It's Saturday morning.
create champions. How's it going, Adam?
Yeah. It's going really well. I'm outdoors, so that's a game changer. And you might hear some birds chiming in here on our on our Saturday morning.
Live studio
Very
audience.
knowledgeable.
Yes.
Yep.
So if it's Saturday now, apparently, and not Friday, what are we doing?
We're hopping on here to help folks learn a little. And today's topic, related to the real estate and lending world, is about apparently learning a little about sponsoring loans. We're going to talk about what does it mean. We're going to talk about who can do it, and are you already a loan sponsor?
Yep.
I just read it right
Adam's
off the
now
bottom.
just seeing. Yeah. Adam's also learning what this Learn a Little is about. So you are too. Yeah. We take for granted sometimes maybe that we swim in this stuff, so we know all the funny words and terms and what they mean. So we thought we'd come on here and talk about something somewhat basic in commercial real estate. But we had a question from an absolute baller client of ours about it, and we thought, boy, that'd be a good topic because of this guy who's done bazillions of dollars of things hasn't heard about, like, hey, you can get paid for just being the guy to sign on loans and be active, of course, but essentially your role is to join a team and sign loans for them. We thought it'd be helpful, so here we are.
So the three roles sometimes are actually play. We're going to talk just generally about GPs, general partners, LPs, limited partners, and sponsors. And sometimes if you're just a person who's doing his or her own thing, you take on all those roles. You're the GP who's running the show. You're also the person who's signing for the debt with the lender, and then you just use your own money to buy, an apartment building, a duplex, a storage unit, something like that. And I thought for a moment that your lovely wife was asking a question. Because of your picture.
She runs away from these
and
lives.
So unbelievable.
She's not in the States when we go
and
live.
So there are three roles usually. Sometimes that's just one person. But then on bigger deals, those roles can be divvied up, or those responsibilities can be divvied up. So that in those cases, it's a GP, it's an operator who's identified a property that's bigger than anything they've done, requires more capital, and perhaps more experience, or is in a type of real estate that they don't have the background in, and a lender might be looking for somebody who has experience in that area. Maybe it's an apartment person who's buying the first storage, or vice versa. They want to be looking for that experience, and so they're going to get another party involved to be in on the team. In order to get that loan underwritten.
Pretty good. So there you go. Pretty good job there. So Adam and I, we snuck into a deal a couple of months back, and you think about, maybe you're going on the internet and you say, hey, what's a loan sponsor? And they talk about having experience. Well, experience doesn't necessarily mean you've been around real estate transactions, because Adam and I had been around a ton, but we couldn't qualify for a commercial loan for a commercial bag of peanuts, because we'd never done one of those.
We never operated a bag of peanuts.
Right. Yeah. So experience is actually one that you've been on the operational side of the project, not that you understand how they work, or like Adam and I, we've helped transact a bunch of big real estate deals, but just because we're in the room doesn't matter. So experience is key, but that actually means you have been in the room and also acted in a capacity to make sure that in this case, real estate project is moving along, and you have some sort of ownership role in it. So
yep. So then, as we said, there's an operator, general partner, who says to somebody who has that experience, hey, can you come on board and help me get this lending? And in some ways, it could appear, if you're grouchy about it, that this person's just coming in to sign a loan and then they're just going to ride off in the sunset. But obviously, a person who's signing on that loan as the sponsor is going to have the same underwriting responsibility, looking at the partners, looking at the deal, looking at the market, understanding all that stuff before they're going to want to sign on that, unless they want to take on that risk of signing with total strangers on a deal they don't understand. So that's the big thing. And then there's some things that the bank's going to be looking for. And Paul, you're gonna go ahead and roll through that one.
Yep. So an important piece of whether the bank will give the loan is your experience, your net worth, and liquidity. So we had mentioned earlier before, hey, what's your experience? If you've never done a commercial real estate, and even though let's say you've made, you have net worth of $50 million as an Amazon e-com store person, but this is your first commercial transaction, and even it's only a $3 million transaction. If you don't have somebody on your team that has done that sort of real estate project, you're probably not going to be a good fit for that bank. Like if you're coming in, you're like, hey, I got all the dough, so I don't really need anybody else on my team. I'd like to get the loan. Well, the bank's going to probably pump the brakes on that because they're like, hey, selling widgets through Amazon is nothing like a commercial transaction. So
why don't you use your own Amazon money on that deal and come back after it goes well?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. Use cash, bro. We'll refi you out later. So that's an important part of experience. And like I mentioned, net worth is, you need to have the net worth on your balance sheet. So like a personal financial statement, assets, liabilities that shows that you have more than the loan's request on your own. So if you're asking for a $2 million loan, hopefully you have $2.5+ million of net worth. And then lastly, they want to see some liquidity, which means you have a certain percentage amount of the loan's value in your bank account or in some other liquid asset. So, if you're asking for $1 million loan, they most times want 10% of that loan amount in liquid assets, whether it's stocks or cash or whatever it is. But you need to have adequate dough that you could pull out and cover in the case that things go sideways. So those are the bank's considerations for you as the sponsor: experience, liquidity, and net worth. Adam, how did I do?
Paul, it was very good. Rich
I'm getting
content.
A lot of support from the thousands of viewers. So
I was thumbsing that up the whole time.
Dot. That's good. So we've talked a little bit about the bank. You had talked about signing on the loan. Can you talk briefly about what that means, whether it's a one that puts your neck truly on the line or one that is non-recourse? And can you just briefly talk about that? Because I think that's important. There's two types of loans, which is weird in commercial real estate. That isn't like going to a bank and getting an auto loan or something like that. Talk about those, would you?
The quick version is recourse or non-recourse deals with whether you're personally liable as an individual for the debt. And usually, if they're bigger, they're non-recourse. Are you getting a repeat echo?
No, you sound fine. It's probably just those fancy It's probably those fancy headphones.
They're designed in California.
Yeah.
Anyway, non-recourse, usually they're just looking at the asset as in if things go sideways, the individual who signed wouldn't personally be liable. They would come after just the asset because there's enough value in that asset, and they aren't coming after the person personally for that debt. When that debt's that high, obviously that's a big consideration if this is a big project, where things go sideways and the person can't possibly support the $1 million or whatever it is of shortfall if things go sideways and the loan fails. So it's just a not personal or personal liability.
Coach Joe getting it done. He's probably already warming up for the game.
Yeah.
He's doing his stretches. He's the best in the business, guys. U6. If you guys are looking for a coach next year, he's your guy. Yeah, so it's a weird, until you're in the industry for a little bit, it's weird to think like, well, I'm not really on the hook for this loan as long as I sign it. Well, it's somewhat of a marketing deal for the banks. They need to figure out a way that they can get you to use their money. So that's one way to do it, is like, hey, I'm going to offer you this loan, and I'm different from the folks down the street because they want a recourse and I'm a non-recourse loan. So you're going to more than likely want to sign with me. But that's, like Adam said, it's kind of straightforward. It's either you're next truly on the line on a recourse loan where they can come at you for any shortfall. If they sell the property and they're $1 million short of what the loan amount is, they can come after you personally for the $1 million. Non-recourse is they'll just take the asset back. There's enough value there that they won't chase after you your personal liability. It's not a personal guarantee. So that's an important difference. Man, we're getting some real eyeball. Connor sent us goodwill, and now we have twice the amount watching us. Hey, Seth, what's up, buddy?
Thanks, Seth.
Let's plug our event. We got a Columbus event, and we got a real star in our hands. Oh, actually, 2 real stars in our hands. This guy, Seth Teagle, talking about his commercial real estate career so far, and then Tiffany High, who is one of Columbus's biggest baller, hustler, flipper, real estate investor types. So that's June 2nd, 4 o'clock, Whiskey Lounge. Come downtown. 1 drink on me and Adam and Jamie Litzler, and network with strangers.
That's right. Check it out. It's going to be a great time.
All right, here we go. Here's our friend Trent. Trent, keep the TikTok videos coming. Bussy. Does the sponsor need to have signed a non-recourse loan before to sign on your loan? No, not necessarily. So every lender, another interesting thing about commercial, if you've only done residential, is that commercial is essentially the Wild West for many things. Negotiating deals, seller financing, all sorts of creative ways that you can take down real estate because you don't have the same federal regulations on commercial transactions as you do for residential. So, there's very tight considerations when you're buying and selling houses that people are going to live in. Commercial, on the other hand, it is all essentially negotiation. So Trent's question concerns, hey, if I've never signed a non-recourse loan, can I get one for this one upcoming? Yes, you'll be able to. I mentioned a little earlier that it's more of a marketing piece for banks. Like, how do I get your money here? And that can be one. It's like, hey, I want a non-recourse loan. You negotiate that with the bank. They'll either say yes or no. Well, if you say, I got somebody down the street that's willing to give me one, the terms are a little worse, but I want to park it with you. You're more than likely going to have some success there. And another plug for the Litzler brothers, a broker, lender broker can really help with that discussion because they're the guys with the relationship and can help with that. So yes, or actually, does the sponsor need to have signed a loan? No, your answer is no.
So yes, actually no.
Yes, no. Not cool.
Yes, comma.
I expect a TikTok about that later, Trent. Bad, but strange legal advice. That's a good one. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Adam, do you have any questions?
I think we've touched all the important bullet points here. But yeah, no. So it's essentially.
Did you talk? Well, one other important thing, and the reason we got the question earlier in the week is because someone was like, "Hey, I'm a very successful real estate investor. Are you telling me that I can sign on loans for fund groups or real estate purchasing entities, and I can get equity just for being that person?" And yes. So with that, when we're talking about you're the loan sponsor, you're usually going to get equity in the project, and equity for a real estate sponsor can be anywhere, depending on the structure and the size, can be anywhere from like 1% or even less than that, half of 1% if it's a mega $1 million deal, to all the way up to 20% or more. Like I said, commercial real estate, you can negotiate anything for signing that loan, having the liquidity, having the net worth, and having the experience. So if you get to that level, you can really carve out a lot of real estate equity just by being, vetting your syndicator types, making sure that they can actually run the project that you're signing on for. But you can really quick if you get to that level.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you were starting to touch on there is that there's some chance that you've already sponsored your loans and haven't. Some people are doing this. I think I said at the beginning, sometimes it's one party that's doing everything, the GP, the sponsor, and maybe even bringing the money LP and don't have any LPs on the deal. So there are folks out there who have been kind of running a small shop of their own and have grown and are getting their own big deals and sponsoring their own loans and have been doing this all along. They just didn't know about this kind of structure because they've never done things on a team. They've been doing this all individually, playing all the roles by themselves. So it's interesting. And so you get out there and one more little plug, like get out there and network. Perfect timing. Wow. So get out there and network. So if you're a person who doesn't have the experience for the number of units you want to go after, network and find some sponsors, develop that relationship, and find somebody who will help sponsor your loans and tag team partner with you. If you're a person who has that experience or that balance sheet get out there and meet some operators who are doing smaller things but want to grow, and you can help them get there. So get out there and network. Get out there and network. Get out there and network.
June 2nd.
On June 2nd, especially.
Yeah, and we're only buying drinks for like the first 50 signups because we're cheap. So,
but the drinks aren't.
The cheap, $15 for a
They're
drink.
Proud of those cocktails.
They're proud of those things. The booze is more expensive in Columbus. It's Short North,
especially when you're at the Whiskey Lounge in Short North.
Yeah, so we mentioned a little bit about it. It'll be it's sponsored by yours truly. This guy, well, that's the wrong side. This guy, me and Adam and Jamie Litzler from Marcus and Millichap. So Marcus and and we learned all our stuff from essentially the Litzler brothers. Chris Litzler, about loan sponsorship. Adam and I were clowns and we didn't know any of this stuff a few years ago. So don't feel like you're on an island. It just takes time. And usually it just takes like one relationship to figure this stuff out. You meet one either lender broker that can explain all this stuff to you in more detail, or, someone that's been through the project, but you need to network and meet more strangers to know these people. Show up on these killer Learn-A-Littles on Saturday. And you will learn more.
All right. I think we've done great, Paul.
I think we have taken enough bandwidth from our friends at Facebook.
Scroll
fast.
All right. Thanks, folks, for stopping by, though. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in.
Maybe you can make June 2, and if not, thanks again.
Get your chores done. It's going to be nice weather today.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later.